What's up everybody, Kinetic here, and welcome back to First Look Fridays. This is Satellite Reign, a squad-based, real-time strategy, open-world exploration, cyberpunk-themed game. That is the best way that I can think of to explain what kind of game this is. This is a Kickstarter-backed project that is heavily inspired and designed to please fans of a much older game called Syndicate Wars that came out back in '96. And so far has lived up to the expectations from the people who backed the game for the most part, and is also really making fans of Cyberpunk like me quite happy. The reviews speak volumes about how good this game is through the player written reviews, and I have to back it up and say that yes, this game really does hit a lot of really nice marks. Now, when I first started to play Satellite Reign, I actually didn't know anything about it other than the fact that it's a cyberpunk themed game. And so as it was starting to throw all of these different features from different genres like RTS, squad-based, shooting, exploration in an open world, and things like that, it was actually kind of threw me for a loop as I was like, what kind of game is this and how am I supposed to play it? But then it suddenly just kind of clicked and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's basically like a concentrated down RTS kind of game. So instead of controlling a very large army or anything like that, you're only going to control 4 agents. Each of them has their own class and role in the party to perform all sorts of different types. You have the soldier, which is going to be giving your party members, for example, additional buffs to their combat abilities. Also acts as kind of the squad's tank, taking hits for and attracting the attention to come to the soldier's way rather than going to all of the party members. You also have the support, who is going to be backing up, of course, the soldier, creating things like extra healing and stuff like that. You have the hacker, who specializes, of course, in hacking and getting through devices, opening doors, and even getting you some extra cash from ATMs kind of trickling into your account. And then there's the infiltrator, who specializes in silent assassin techniques, has a cloaking device that makes you invisible for a short period of time. So combining all of this, what you have is I don't want to say a simpler, but a much more manageable RTS kind of experience. If you are overwhelmed by some RTS games because you have hundreds of units, you don't have to worry about that here with Satellite Reign. There's 4 agents, and even with the additional abilities that each agent has, plus multiple guns and things like that, it's actually very, very manageable to control them as a whole, and then individually kind of micromanaging from one class to the other during various situations. Before I start raving about the rest of the features, I'm going to go ahead and open up what is the greatest weakness, I think, of this game, and it's unfortunately the storytelling. Now, Cyberpunk as a theme, again, like I've said, I'm quite a fan of, and I think Cyberpunk as a setting has some of the coolest potential to tell some of the most interesting and unique stories that can be told. Whatever it is, gaming, movies, anime, whatever, Cyberpunk is just super, super cool. And unfortunately, Satellite Reign really missed the mark on this, I think. Now, I go ahead and I give them a free pass on the core setting, which is Cyberpunk, which is it's very specific, really. It's futuristic, augmentations, high technology, corrupt corporations, and stuff like that. I accept that that's what Syndicate Wars and Deus Ex and Satellite Reign, of course, have to be kind of based around, but where it needs to go from there is personality, and that is what Satellite Reign is sadly missing. The 4 agents that you control are just mindless clones, it feels like, where they don't really seem to say anything or react in any kind of interesting way to anything that's happening. And even the headquarters, where you're getting your information from and you're reading the text of like what your missions are and stuff like that, it just doesn't come off as being very memorable. It's almost generic at times, it feels like, and it would really have been a lot cooler if, at the very least, each of your agents had some kind of character or personality to them to make you understand them, what their motives are, what their past and future goals are, and things like that. That would really have taken Satellite Reign to the highest level it possibly could. But if you're not interested in story at all, if you're just in it for the gameplay and the shooting or the stealth and the the technology and the exploration and all that good stuff, you'll be totally fine because it's A+ everywhere across the board except for the story. Now, as important as it is for me to be critical about a game, to point out its weaknesses and things like that, I really don't want to drag down Satellite Reign any more than that. That is the only major weakness of this game, I think. Everything else is much more praiseworthy, so much so that I want to say that, especially for me personally, and judging by the enthusiasm by the players themselves that are playing this game right now, I think that Satellite Reign is actually one of the best games to come out this year. A sleeper hit, if you will. The amount of attention to detail and quality and polish pretty much everywhere is one of the most impressive things about this. You have absolutely gorgeous graphics, all of these little details filled in to create a very authentic looking and sounding cyberpunk world. From the electric signs to the soundtrack, everything seems to speak to me that this is a cyberpunk world, and it feels really, really good. Exploring around, you'll be scanning the areas for potential people that you can bribe for information, these info brokers, right? You have the ATMs, as I mentioned before. You can hack into them to give yourself extra cash, which will be used, for example, for your augmentations and your research for prototype weapons and other kinds of gear that you will find along the way, from maybe missions where you infiltrated a complex and you found some goodies there, or perhaps picked up from some of the enemies that you'll be looting from. When it comes to the missions, what I really like about Satellite Reign is how it gives you lots of different options for how to go about completing whatever your objective is. You may be going in there to get some goods, maybe rescue somebody or whatever, but there are many ways that you can tackle that mission. Will you use stealth? Will you use combat? Will you go through the doors, or will you zip line in? There's a lot of different ways that you can approach these missions. It's really up to you, and it's going to come down to personal playstyle, of course, but if you really pay attention to the mission info, and maybe there are some extra options. For example, you might pay an info broker who will tell you, hey dude, there's an easier access to the complex on this side, a door that's going to be open, and then you can go ahead and go in that way to make your job easier for completing whatever your objective is. Sometimes you might not even bring your whole squad. It may just be your infiltrator, for example, who will use a zip line and solo that area, or maybe bribe the guard at the door. There's a lot of different ways to go about your missions, and I find that to be such an attractive and fantastic way to give you options in this game. One other thing I definitely want to make a mention of in this video is the challenge that Satellite Reign gives you. It has a good tutorial, I think, and a kind of extended tutorial beyond just the very beginning of the game, and then showing you additional features later, like, for example, the fast travel and whatever. But this game is not going to hold your hand and is not going to give you a get-out-of-jail-free card in any situation. And there are definitely consequences to screwing up in this game, which almost feels like it's easy to do at times. Again, probably because I've never played a game quite like this before, but just the simple little things like maybe having your guns out by accident when you're supposed to have them put away because they don't auto holster their weapons. If you're walking around still with your guns and the security forces see you like that, then you're going to be in trouble. The alarms are going off and they're going to start chasing you all over the damn city. There's cameras everywhere too. It's not going to be easy to get out of an alert phase in this game. Especially in the early stages as well, you will probably get gunned down very, very quickly until you start building up your individual classes with their more powerful abilities. There is even a system that as you continually respawn using the same clone blueprint for your agent's body, that the cloned body blueprint, whatever it is, this isn't going to make a lot of sense, but you will actually lose stats as you continue to die, and you can even lose more than that if you continue to die using the same cloned blueprint. So what you have to do is you have to search, like whenever you get the chance to, in between missions, to scan the area of the citizens, and then you have to figure out what the quality is of their DNA, right? And if they have good DNA, then you'll hijack them and then you'll send their brainwashed ass to the factory to be, I guess, scanned, and then a clone of them can be made for your agent to respawn into that body with that DNA and those stats. It's kind of weird, but that's Cyberpunk, and that's also why I love it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much what I can give you for this first look video, which feels like I'm only scratching the surface of what this game offers. There's a lot more I could talk about as far as the character, agent customization, their skills, more about the exploration and missions and stuff like that, but I highly recommend that you check it out for yourself. Satellite Reign is available on Steam, I think, for about 30 bucks. It's something like that for me in Japanese yen. And there's also a deluxe edition, which includes, for example, an art book and soundtrack. There's no buying weapon packs or anything like that, thank God. You earn what you get in this game, which is pretty cool. If you would like to know more about Satellite Reign, check the description of this video. I'll have links to the official website and things like that. I highly recommend that you give this game a look and possibly lay down the cash for it, because this is one of the best games that I've done a first look video for this year. Also, come hang out with me this Saturday. I'll be live streaming Satellite Reign on twitch.tv/Kinetic Live. Link to that also in description below. I want to know what you guys think now. Leave me your thoughts down in the comments section. Click the like button to support these First Look Friday videos and the Satellite Reign, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.